Okay, good afternoon. Let's call the Millcreek Township General Authority meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any public comment on any of the agenda items? No? No comment? Okay. Next order item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the meeting of August 13th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Wardy. Any further discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so those minutes are approved. Okay, item number 5, approval of bills. Mr. Waldinger, any comments on, we had a minimal number of expenses?
Correct, yeah, there were just standard expenses. I think the only thing of note was that just because of when I entered the POs, payment for both the June and July work orders from Altair were in this month and not, rather than one being in last month and one this month, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Any questions? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the bills as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the
So moved by Ms.
bills.
Clear.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Wardy. Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
I vote yes, and those bills are approved. Okay, item number 6, landowner consent agreement. Turn that over to Mr. Waldinger to explain.
Yes, thank you. We were reached out to by a contact from the Department of Environmental Protection regarding the 2 gas wells that are on properties that the authority owns, the Manor Motel property and the Grasshopper property. The DEP is putting together a package of wells in Erie County to cap with funds provided by federal Infrastructure and Jobs Act funds. So I've been in contact with the DEP. They have sent over a consent of landowner agreement that they would like the authority to enter into with the DEP, giving them permission to enter onto the properties and cap these wells. This would be at no charge to the authority. If you would recall, previously we had spoken and worked with a foundation called the Well Done Foundation, who was interested in potentially adopting and capping these wells. I did have a conversation regarding that with the DEP representative, and although I'm sure that Well Done's intentions are good and that they do hopefully in the future intend to proceed with capping these wells, as of today they have not moved to adopt the wells and start that process. And I just feel that I was given assurances by the DEP that they had the federal funds and the ability and wherewithal to move on capping these wells, and so I feel that entering into this agreement with them is in the best interest of the authority, and we do appreciate Well Done's efforts and would continue to work with them in other facets, but this is the most expedient and easy way to get these wells taken care of at no cost to us.
And if I could add, the department is doing this throughout the state. They're approaching various property owners that have abandoned wells on their property. Fortunately, the 2 wells at issue here fall within the parameters of their program. So they're actually going to go throughout Erie County, and there's a number of wells that they intend to plug. And that involves kind of removing the existing casing and then, plugging it with cement. They'll hire a contractor that'll come in and do that. And the landowner consent agreement allows that contractor then to come onto the property, do the plugging that's necessary, and then monitor it for a year to make sure that the plug that's been installed is working, so that there's no gases being released. At which point I think we're fine to move forward with however we want to proceed. So I agree with Matt that I think it makes sense to do that. The agreement does provide for some ability to make some modifications. We'll review that and make any modifications that we think are necessary. One, for instance, would be to try to see as best as we can to get these wells plugged sooner than later in the list for Erie County that they have, knowing what the redevelopment plans may be down the road, so that we could get those out of the way before any other work would need to be done as well. So again, I would echo Matt's recommendation to approve proceeding in this fashion and to give him the authority to execute the landowner consent agreement in accordance with the terms that we negotiate.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments recommended by our solicitor and our director? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve the
I'll make
consent
it.
agreement. So moved by Mr. Wardy.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Olet. We'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
I vote yes, and that item is approved. Moving on to item number 7, demolition project phase 2, formerly known as the Bel Air. Mr. Waldinger.
Thank you. Bids were due on Friday, September 6th at 3 p.m. for the demolition of the Bel Air. We did receive 6 bids by the deadline. Bids were opened at 3:15 p.m. on September 6th, and the results were as follows. There were several options, well, actually one option and one alternate. I'm just going to read the results for the full alternate and option together, the full price, what we're considering the all-in price, which would include removal of the building and all of the asphalt on the properties, just so that we're comparing apples to apples. And then I do have a full list of results that I can post on the website and that we have shared with all of the bidders and with the board. So as I mentioned, we opened at 3:15 on September 6th. The bids are as follows. Empire Excavating and Demolition, $238,985. ACP Buffalo LLC, $1,599,387. Door and Associates Incorporated, $892,950. Siegel Excavating LLC, $1,052,000. Pro Quality Demolition, $1,238,000. And Reclaim Company LLC, $768,000. Of those 6 bidders, we did have one that did not attend either of the mandatory walkthroughs, and so they would have been, they ended up numerically the third lowest bidder, but they would be excluded from the award of the bid. But again, they were third, so it didn't really matter. At this point, after review of the bids received, I would recommend that we award the contract for the demolition project phase 2 to Empire Excavating and Demolition for the alternate 1 and option 1 total price of $238,985.
Okay. And just as a point of reference, this is the same contractor that did the authority's prior demolition.
Correct. They also did the phase 1 demolition.
And Matt, this is the only local company as well, correct?
That is correct. All the other companies that bid were from out of town.
And we, on the last project, we had minimal change orders, correct?
Yes, we had minor, and the majority of the change orders revolved around leaving the pavement that we did for Mason Farms.
Can you speak to the timeliness of how they approached the first phase of the project?
Absolutely, yeah. We did, we had an open-ended time frame similar to now with only completion date. And so they had a completion date of phase 1 of May 15th. They did have some other jobs that they were working on and started in March. But I can say that as soon as they started, they moved along very timely, actually completing work in much quicker fashion than I had thought. I know that they did expend some extra effort just to get the demolition completed before the eclipse so that the buildings were down. The sites weren't completely finished, but at least the buildings were down before the eclipse. And so we do have a good track record of working with this contractor and them responding quickly.
And even though, I mean, there's a fairly large disparity between the lowest and the next lowest bid, but we do require a performance bond. We have experience, so we're benefiting from maybe a local company here, so.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other questions, comments? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the Phase 2 bid.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Olet,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Wardy. Go ahead and vote.
Yes.
Ms. Cleary, yes. Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Mr. Wardy?
Yes.
And I vote yes, and that is approved. Okay. Agenda item number 8 is communications. We'll start with treasurer, Ms. Page. Anything to report?
I have nothing to report today.
Nothing? Okay. All right. Moving on to the executive director communication, Mr. Waldinger.
Thank you. I just have a few items to update everyone on. First is the historical evaluation of the Grasshopper Building. Ms. Bamberg from Clio Consulting did conduct a site visit on April 23rd, and we have been in communication with her since, providing some additional information. I'm currently awaiting her report, which should be delivered before the end of September. Regarding the St. Jude property and the trees, the parish has completed removing the pine trees that were on authority property that's along the south line of their parking lot. And regarding the Bel Air property in general, I know some concerns were expressed both by the public and this board about some of the conditions of the vegetation around the building. And so within the last month, efforts were made to cut down or remove some of the unsightly brush, mostly in the front and the perimeter, to try and improve the appearance until demolition work begins. The timeline for the demolition, as stated in the bid, is that the building must be down by February 28th of 2025, and then all of the hardscape and parking lot removed and everything graded and seeded by May 31st of 2025. So once we make it through the rest of this fall season, there should be no more overgrowth and things to deal with on that site.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Waldinger?
None here.
No? Okay. If not, lastly, Mr. Solicitor, Mr. Shaw.
Yes. Now that we have the Bel Air demolition bids and given the winning bidder amounts and the cost of the buildings already demolished, I'd like to emphasize that the overall cost of the overall demolition cost of the properties along A Street will likely be in the $500,000 to $600,000 range, and that includes, in fact, the cost of asbestos removal being conducted. If you recall, the naysayers for this project, without any data or evidence, repeatedly made spurious claims about the cost of demolition. Those false claims include a statement that, quote, "It is unlikely that the land bank will cover all of the demolition costs because a preliminary estimate to demolish the Bel Air alone was nearly $2 million and there are 3 other buildings to demolish," close quote. That was false at the time it was made, and today's winning bid demonstrates how far off that false statement was. There was another statement made during a radio show that the land bank has allocated some money, but even with that said, it won't cover the cost of demo. Again, not accurate. Lastly, in a document widely circulated in Millcreek, the author claims that, quote, "They think $1 million will cover the demolition costs for all these properties. It won't even come close," close quote. Again, a statement made without any support or evidence that simply was not true at the time it was made and clearly is false today. I doubt that those making such statements will fill this meeting room to laud that the overall cost of demolition fell well short of the monies available from the land bank and their dire predictions of financial ruin. But I would like to commend Matt Waldinger and his staff for ensuring that these demolitions were done within the funding available from the land bank. And I do not think that anyone could legitimately assert that those properties do not look better now than they did last year at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that because, we had a lot of discussion and back and forth, and even, this board, the supervisors having the relationship with the land bank, and you as well, Mr. Shaw. So, it all turned out great. We'll look forward to next May and having it all cleaned up. So thank you for those comments. Any other comments, questions? No? Okay. Item number 9, any citizens to be heard? Going once? We got to have somebody. Dennis.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but
Dennis,
I get 45 minutes. That's still less than this morning's meeting.
you're right. Good point.
even though we know you, just state your name and address, please.
Dennis McAndrew.
Thank you.
admittedly with back and forth and stuff a lot, is the land bank paying or helping pay for this newest round?
Yes.
Yeah, so the land bank did award the authority $1 million in demolition funds to be paid out $250,000 a year, beginning in '23 and going through '26. So we do have that to draw from. It is a reimbursement, and so, for example, with Phase 1, any invoices we've paid to date, we've then submitted to the land bank to be reimbursed, and we would do the same with this contract, and we have the ability to draw on those.
Is that me? I just, because of the going back and forth, I honestly lost track. And that's partly too why it was broken down into several phases, is to be able to afford this.
Correct, yes.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize that it's taking a little bit for a reason, but in the long run, we're saving a lot of money.
Correct.
Thoughts, I mean, I kind of wanted that on the record, that you're,
Let's also state for the record that since the formation of the land bank in 2018, approximately $24,000 came to Millcreek Township, and $1 million a year was put into the account by EGRA for these kinds of projects. So with Millcreek holding 1/5 of the population, we were not getting our fifth. Let's put it that way.
no, that's good. And then the comment about the history of the grasshopper is coming along, so that'll be the next meeting. Hopefully we'll know if it's,
Yeah, hopefully we'll have some updates by then.
and will that be to determine then if it stays or goes, or is that a whole nother can of worms?
I mean, we will definitely have those discussions once we have the report, but we have to have that in hand first before those go forward.
I thought so, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Dennis.
Appreciate it. Okay, does anybody have a need for an executive session?
I do have one item that I just would like to talk to the board about after the meeting. It should be 5 minutes at the most.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
you gonna adjourn?
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved by Ms. Clear,
Second?
second by Mr. Olet. Go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Olet?
Sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Wardy? I vote yes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a great rest.